You have revealed the mysteries of the kingdom to mere children. We are the mere children. Don't understand. We need the extra encouragement. We need the extra signs. We need the extra help to even have any possibility of fathoming the mysteries of God. Welcome to the DMR, everybody. The DMR is a video where I take the readings from today's Mass and I reflect on them. And I hope that reflection bears some fruit for you. Bring some grace into your life from the Mass, because the Mass is meant to be lived. But anyway, welcome to DMR, episode 5. Today, the readings were reflective. Not so much as in reflective of, like, I was very reflective while reading them, but that the readings reflect how you yourself are feeling about your faith. But first, the sponsor for today's video is Saint Joseph. If you know, up in Canada, yesterday was Canada Day, and patron saint of Canada is Joseph. So we're going to pray to Joseph to intercede for us, because, as St. Andre Bessette would say, pray to Joseph. He gets things done. Anyway, so the first reading today was from Amos, and we talked about Amos last week, where Amos was this other prophet, kind of around the same time as Isaiah, but Amos was in a completely different kingdom. In the reading it says Israel. We have to understand at this time there were two kingdoms. There was Israel and there was Judah. Right? Israel and Judah, two different kingdoms, Israel in the north. This is before Israel gets wiped out by the Assyrians, which we kind of heard about last week. And Amos is going up there, and they're basically trying to kick Amos out, because Amos isn't from the kingdom of Israel. He's from Judah, down south, and he's also not from a line of prophets. We only hear about a few in the Bible, but there were lots of people saying that they were prophesying from God. And some of them weren't even prophesying from the Jewish God, but were accepted as prophets in the Jewish kingdom because, as we know, the Jews built temples and altars to all these other different gods that weren't the God of Israel. And so they had prophets too, and we kind of see like an epic battle. I don't know if you know that epic battle between Elijah and the prophet of another god, or I think it's Baal in the Bible, where they like have like a like in Survivor where they like burn. They have like the fire off. It was kind of like that, except Elijah, won. But that's kind of the idea, that there were other prophets there that the king, Jeroboam at that time of Israel, would listen to. He didn't want to listen to this guy because he was telling them that they were wrong. Why don't I just listen to this prophet who tells me I'm doing everything right? And there's this dialogue that's happening between Amos and the people of that place of, you know what, I didn't choose to do this. Right? Why are you getting upset with me? I didn't want to be a prophet. I was perfectly fine being a shepherd. That's what I did. But God came and told me I had to come up to you and tell you how stupid you're being. So don't tell me to get out of here. I don't even want to be here. He's kind of got like that kind of Jonah mentality where it's like, I didn't want to be here. I came because God asked me to, whether I wanted to or not, and I followed God because he's my God. Something you should learn from, by the way. And then he gives them their message that they're going to be destroyed, of course, which is a message they don't want to hear. They want to hear about how great the kingdom of Israel is. We're so great. We're going to beat all these guys, and we're going to, we're the one bright spot in this entire world. We're God's chosen people, even though we don't worship God. Amos is having none of that. And so that's kind of the gist of the first reading. It's just, there are many different prophets, and Amos is saying, I was chosen by God. Here's a message from God. Take it or leave it. If you don't take it, you're going to die. Don't come and tell me that I'm here to boost myself. Don't come and tell me I'm here to do this for my own glory. I'm here to do this for God. And that leads us to the psalm, where we hear about truth and justice. These two things that have to go together. It's one thing to say that you're bringing justice, but if you ignore the truth, then it's not really justice, is it? And sometimes the truth is hard to hear, sometimes the truth is hard to believe, but the truth is justice. They are one and the same. By telling someone the truth, you are doing justice to them. If I have a friend and I don't tell them the truth about something, I'm not doing justice to them. If I don't tell them the truth about how bad their actions are, I'm not doing justice to them. I know many people probably have friends who are not Catholic or not religious, and they kind of just don't say anything about when they do things that are against what we know to be right and true. And when you do that, not only does it lower your perception in their eyes because you don't stand up for what you really believe in, you are not really living out the Mass. You're not really living out the life of God in your everyday life. All of this brings us to the gospel. I don't want to spend too much time on the first reading today because the gospel is really where it's at. The gospel is one of the first times in the Bible where we really see Jesus forgiving someone. And I don't mean forgiving someone like, I know you did some bad things, you're forgiven, it's fine, it's cool. I'm talking about like he forgave all of his sins ever in his entire life. All of them. All of them gone. In an instant, just like that. Jesus was like, they're gone. And you know why they're gone? You notice this, especially in Matthew. Anytime that a miracle happens, Jesus sees the faith of the people he's talking to, and then he does the miracle. See, faith is necessary in order for miracles to happen. We often believe, as Christians and as Catholics, that miracles should just happen. Right? God should come down from heaven and show me himself. If God doesn't come down and give me a sign, then I'm not going to do it. If God doesn't come down and turn water into wine, I'm not going to do this great, tremendous thing. We're often waiting for God to wow us, to awe us. And it doesn't happen unless you believe. The belief comes first. The miracle comes after. You want someone who's in the hard spot to get better, you pray for them first. And then you can expect God to come and help if it's within his will. It is a difficult notion to believe that you will get things from God without believing in him by showing faith. You can't expect something from God without God expecting faith from you. That's always been how it worked. Even way back in Amos, that's the point he's making. You're not believing in God, so bad things are going to happen. So believe in God, and he will help you. He's telling you the bad things are going to come. God wants to help you. He's sending all these prophets to give you this message. Hey, I want to help you. I'm telling you these bad things are coming. Just ask me for help. I want to help. Just say yes. Just ask for help. It's not that complicated. Really, faith is not complicated. It doesn't mean it's easy. It is very simple to say I believe, but it doesn't mean it's easy. Which is how God kind of gets you in the Bible, where he's not making it complicated for you to understand what he wants you to do. But that doesn't mean that he's making it easy. Because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. I actually don't know where this quote originally come from, but I always associate it with this guy. He's a good role model of me in youth ministry, has been for a long time. He often says when it comes to sacraments, sacraments are an outward sign of an inward grace. And that pretty much sums up this entire reading. That Jesus is doing the inward grace. He's giving him forgiveness. Right? And the scribes are like, what is this blasphemy? You can't forgive sins. You're not God. And he's like, well, actually I am. But also, just to show you that it's not just because I'm God that I'm doing this, I will make him walk. This message is a pointed message from Matthew to his audience, and he's using Jesus to do it. He's writing the story in a way that makes it so that Jesus is actually talking directly to the people, directly to the audience of Matthew, which is the Jews, and directly to us, which is the church, of, listen, just because I'm Jesus doesn't mean, just because I'm God is not the reason why this man's sins were forgiven, or why this miracle has happened. If I can do it, that also means that you can do it. Because the main point that he's trying to push, Matthew, in his entire gospel, is that you are also a son and daughter of God. You are part of this church. You are part of this great undertaking, which means you also have the power to do miracles. Shocking. I know. Crazy. Like, that's never happened before. All those saints that we talk about, no miracles ever happen. You know that a saint has to have at least 2 confirmed miracles to become a saint? I think it's actually more than that. So think about how many saints there are, and then how many miracles historically have happened throughout the course of 2,000 years of the church being around that were scientifically unexplainable. That's a lot of miracles. And then to think that the miracle can't happen for you, just to discount it altogether, we should probably try having the faith first and then seeing what happens. And then you kind of get this hidden messaging from Matthew at the end, because there's a very pointed line at the end where he says they were in awe because of what man could do. What do you mean? I mean, Jesus is not just a man, he's also God. And Matthew's talking not just about Jesus, but about the people, his representatives who have come after, who also now have the ability to forgive sins. Not in the sense that they're God and they're forgiving the sins, but that these priests of the Catholic Church that are now around can have the authority to forgive sins from Jesus. He's passed it on to them, which we find out in the next chapter, right? It doesn't happen here, but we see Jesus passing on this power to them in the next chapter, because Matthew's trying to make this point very clear. Jesus made the church so that it would include everybody. Me, you, everyone. And we are all a part of this life-giving life-saving mission of the church to bring people to God, the work of the kingdom. It's a very important task. Jesus even gives another help here where he makes this inward grace visible through the outward sign where he forgives the man who's walking. But just think of the sacraments too. Every sacrament has an outward sign that's demonstrating to you the inward grace. Because God is just not just saying, believe by faith alone. Look, all of you doubting Thomases, you can see that it's happening. You can see it. It's very clearly there. When someone is baptized, you can see their sins being washed away. How beautiful is that? And I've been thinking about that a lot because I'm thinking about when I'm going to baptize my son after he's born. And it's such a powerful and amazing thing that God has known how small and humble we are and given us this sign, which he says in the Gospel Acclamation. I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Gospel Acclamation where the Gospel Acclamation says, you have revealed the mysteries of the kingdom to mere children. We are the mere children. Don't understand. We need the extra encouragement. We need the extra signs. We need the extra help to even have any possibility of fathoming the mysteries of God. And that is what Jesus is making powerful in this reading. And in this entire readings of today, that's the message being shown. That God has given you all you need to believe. You just need to look. Open your eyes, dummy. Look. And I've needed that message a lot in my life. And that's the message that he's giving today. The last thing that I want to talk about is the way that Matthew describes the people. The people are in awe of Jesus. They're in awe of the power that Jesus has given to his church. They're in awe. Can you think of the last time that you were really in awe of something? Just think about it. Think about all the times in a day where Jesus or God is trying to help you and you just don't notice. Sometimes I'm in awe of that our car started. Sometimes I'm in awe that we actually have the money to buy something that we want. Sometimes I'm in awe of just like watching the baby kick in my wife's stomach. It's just like, what is this? What is this life that I am living? And you lose that sense of awe if you're not in tune with the Mass, because that awe comes from the Mass. The Mass happens every day. The Mass is literally Jesus going and saying, I forgive you, I love you, come home. Come and live heaven with me today. Not tomorrow, not at the end of your life, today. Come and be in heaven with me in the Mass. You don't have to physically be in a church to do that. You just have to welcome God into your own heart, which is why the active spiritual communion is so beautiful, which is why nothing is keeping you from being with God. So the question is then, what are you waiting for? Thank you for watching. Goodbye.